Hello, amigos, and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida. Happy Labor Day, guys. Happy Labor Day. Hope you had a nice long weekend, that you were able to rest and share with your family some good times. If you took off somewhere else, I hope you have a safe trip back home. My wife is coming back tomorrow from Pittsburgh. She placed third in the Nationals bodybuilding tournament. She's a figure competitor, and we're very proud of her, and she did great. So we're looking to see her place first in the next competitions coming up and earn her pro card. We're very proud of her. I can't wait for her to get back and tell me all the stories and how everything went. She's now staying with her daughter in San Antonio and enjoying her grandkids, little grandkids. But anyway, guys, today we're going to talk about a little controversial subject. A subject I don't think it's that controversial. I just see it more like a badge of honor and a little kind of contention between two warrior countries, all right, Puerto Rico and Mexico. Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Who has the edge? Who has won more battles between both of these countries? We're going to touch on this subject, and I want to hear what your opinion is. Whether you're Mexican, whether you're Puerto Rican, whether you are from another country and you follow these great boxing cultures. These are some of the most iconic fights and greatest rivalry we know in the sport of boxing. I think that when you see a Puerto Rican fighter facing a Mexican fighter, and we're talking about not just any Puerto Rican fighter like Berlanga, not that type of fighter. We're talking about elite versus elite. It always, creates a buzz in the fight community, and the whole world is watching. All right. Now, these two countries have produced some of the fiercest warriors in the sport, and their head-to-head matchups have provided fans with unforgettable moments. We'll explore the history, the stats, and the pride that fuels this rivalry. Plus, we'll analyze whether a potential fight between Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez might not live up to the Puerto Rico versus Mexico legacy. Part number 1, the rivalry in numbers. Puerto Rico and Mexico have a long-standing rivalry in boxing, filled with passion, pride, and an unquenchable thirst for victory. Let's break down some key stats to understand who has the edge in this iconic rivalry. Total championship fights. As of the latest data, Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters have faced each other around 150 championship fights. This includes all major sanctioning bodies, WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO, across various weight divisions. Wins in championship fights. Mexico approximately has 80 wins versus Puerto Rico, who has approximately 70 wins. Edge in wins. Mexico currently has the edge over Puerto Rico in terms of wins in championship fights, with around 10 more victories. And guys, don't get your panties up in a bunch. This is the stats that I have. It could be one way or the other, but it's really my point here. It is super close. It is super close. If there's an advantage to either country, Mexico or Puerto Rico, it's very thin. All right. This margin showcases the intense competitiveness between these two boxing powerhouses, as the gap remains relatively narrow given the number of matchups. Part 2, more than just a numbers game. Now let's consider the geographic and demographic differences between these two nations that make Puerto Rico's boxing success even more impressive. This is what I was telling you guys about, all right? Let's compare, let's get down to the nitty-gritty and compare both of these countries as far as landmass and boxing champions per capita, all right? Geographic size comparison. Puerto Rico's landmass, approximately 3,515 square miles. All right, it's 35 miles wide, 100 miles in length. Mexico's land area, 758,449 square miles. Puerto Rico could fit into Mexico approximately 216 times based on their respective land areas. The stark contrast in size highlights the remarkable achievements of Puerto Rico in boxing, considering its much smaller geographic size compared to Mexico. All right. One of the things that I've read in some of the comments when this subject has been and by smart people, not just by fanatics or just deranged kind of nationalistic type of fans that you have out there. Let's get real. I mean, if you're a smart person, you can understand the magnitude of these stats. All right, Puerto Rico is 216 times smaller than Mexico. 216 times smaller. Yet Mexico has only 10 more wins in championship fights versus Puerto Rican fighters, and that's a lot to say, guys. If you add the numbers, if you are a person that is impartial and a person is not fanatical, whether you're Mexican or Puerto Rican, you can understand. And we're not taking anything away from Mexico. We're not. We're just comparing these two countries as far as, hard facts. These are the hard facts, that undisputable facts, all right, that can't be argued against. So when you comment and you say, oh, Mexico is better or Puerto Rico is better. No, guys, listen. Let's look at the facts, right? Let's look at the facts. Let's continue. Population per capita output. Despite its small size and population, Puerto Rico has produced an extraordinary number of boxing champions. When adjusted to population size, Puerto Rico's contribution to the sport on a per capita basis is unparalleled, making it a true pound-for-pound boxing powerhouse. Number one in the world, guys. That cannot be argued. And it's not only said by me, it's actually said by many people. When idiots like Teofimo Lopez says that Puerto Rican fighters are easy, this shows you, exactly how little of what he's saying is based on facts, all right? How many champions has Honduras, a country where he claims to be? He's an American. He was born in the States. He hardly speaks Spanish. How many Honduran world champions has the little country of Honduras produced? And Honduras is about the size of Puerto Rico. I guess none. All right? Zero. All right? So stop talking crap, Teofimo. All right? And get to fight some top opponents. All right? Stop cherry picking, and one, that's a message for him directly. You have lost 2 out of the last 3 fights, so let's fight somebody that is stop talking and put your money where your mouth is. And that's my suggestion to Teofimo Lopez. I would love to see him fight Suriel Matias. I would love to see him fight a top contender. All right, I think he's more hyped than anything else. All right, let's continue. Part 3, 5 iconic Puerto Rico versus Mexico battles. Now let's look at 5 of the most iconic fights between Puerto Rican and Mexican champions. These bouts didn't just entertain. They became chapters in boxing folklore. Okay, number 1, Wilfredo Gomez versus Carlos Zarate, 1978. I saw that live, guys. This fight is often cited as one of the greatest in the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. Wilfredo Bazooka Gomez, a Puerto Rican legend, defended his WBC Super Bantamweight title against Carlos Zarate. A hard-hitting Mexican Gomez emerged victorious with a 5th-round knockout in a thrilling fight that cemented his legacy. And I can't remember exactly how many knockouts these guys had, but it was like 98% knockout ratio if you added both of these numbers. I mean, I think Gomez was undefeated and they were both undefeated and had like 99 or 98% knockout ratio. I believe Gomez had 100%. if I'm not mistaken. Number 2, Julio Cesar Chavez versus Hector Macho Camacho. In this clash of titans, Mexico beloved Julio Cesar Chavez faced Puerto Rico's flamboyant Hector Macho Camacho. Chavez dominated his fight, winning a unanimous decision, but Camacho's resilience and charisma made it a memorable encounter. And Camacho was, oh my God, what a talented fighter this guy was. If it wasn't for the drugs and the partying and everything else, this guy could have been even greater than what he was. His hand speed, his skills inside the ring, his charisma was unbelievable, you know. And then he fought the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, Julio Cesar Chavez, who, I mean, destroyed a lot of Puerto Rican fighters back in the day. And I was always rooting for the Puerto Rican fighters, and I would say, damn, when is somebody gonna be able to beat Julio Cesar Chavez? But he was a beast. Julio Cesar Chavez, the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Yep. Take my hat off to the great Cesar Chavez. All right. So number 3, Miguel Cotto versus Antonio Margarito, 2008 and 2011. Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito's rivalry is one of the most intense in recent boxing history. In their first encounter, Margarito handed Cotto his first professional loss. However, controversy surrounded Margarito's hand wraps, leading to a heated rematch in 2011, where Cotto avenged his loss with a technical knockout, restoring Puerto Rico's pride. All right, so we all know that story. I don't need to repeat it, but to all those guys that know a little bit of boxing history, has followed boxing for a while, we all know Margarito was a cheat and cheated the first time using some illegal hand wraps, and was caught in a fight between him and Sugar Shane Mosley, was found out, and I think he got suspended for over a year, if I'm not mistaken. Cotto challenged him again and destroyed Margarito, stopping him late in the fight. All right, number 4, Salvador Sanchez versus Wilfredo Gomez, 1981. This bout is considered one of the greatest featherweight fights of all time. Mexican legend Salvador Sanchez defeated Puerto Rican Wilfredo Gomez with an 8-round knockout. The fight was explosive, showcasing the fierce competitiveness and skill of both nations. And I also saw this fight live on TV with my grandfather. I was so mad when Gomez lost. Oh my God. I was really upset. The whole nation mourned when Gomez lost. I think that was his first defeat, if I'm not mistaken. And we all know the story behind it. We all know what happened. The people that were around that area that saw that fight, him and Joanna Rosalí, the actress, in which he partied all night the night before. He was so overconfident that he was going to knock out Salvador Sanchez that he actually didn't have any respect for him, and that cost him. And that's what I tell my fighters: you got to be ready all the time, do not be distracted, do not always remain humble and train as hard as you can. You never know how hard your opponent is training. They never got to fight on a rematch. Unfortunately, Salvador Sanchez passed away in an automobile accident, a Porsche that Don King bought for him as a price, as a gift for his fight with Gomez. Right? Number 5, Felix Trinidad versus Fernando Vargas, year 2000. Classic slugfest that saw Puerto Rican Felix Trinidad defend his IBF and WBA light middleweight titles against the tough Mexican-American Fernando Vargas. Trinidad won by knockout in the 12th round, but not before both fighters traded heavy blows, making it one of the most exciting fights of the decade. That was one hell of a fight too, guys. I remember Tito going down and getting back up and putting Vargas away. Oh my God, he set up Vargas with a couple of traps, and that lead left hook that Tito Trinidad had was devastating. I mean, it was unbelievable power that Tito had. For me, to be honest with you, and I don't know if you guys think differently, but I think he's the greatest Puerto Rican fighter in the last 30 years. The greatest, the number 1, all right? Nobody like him for the last 30 years. Changed my mind. I don't think Cotto would have lasted 8 rounds against Tito Trinidad. No way. All right, would have gotten stopped. All right, part number 4. Puerto Rico versus Mexico, more than just size. While Mexico has the largest population and thus a broader talent pool, Puerto Rico's pound-for-pound greatness is undeniable. The island's passion for boxing and the pride with which Puerto Rican fighters step into the ring make every bout against Mexico feel like a battle for national honor. Part 5. Berlanga versus Canelo. Not quite Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Now let's address the potential matchup between Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez. On paper, this could seem like another chapter in the storied Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. But let's analyze why this fight doesn't fit the traditional narrative. Berlanga's status. Edgar Berlanga, though a promising fighter, is still relatively unproven at the highest level. Many boxing analysts consider him a C or B- level fighter. He has not yet faced top-tier competition or proven himself deserving of a title fight against someone of Canelo's caliber. Canelo's superiority. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, is a seasoned champion with multiple world titles across different weight classes. He has fought and beaten some of the best in the sport, and many consider him one of the pound-for-pound kings of boxing today. A fight between Canelo and Berlanga would not be seen as a true Puerto Rico versus Mexico clash because the skill levels are too disparate. Legacy versus height. For a Puerto Rico versus Mexico bout to resonate with fans, it needs to be a match of equal warriors who have proven themselves in the ring. Berlanga, while talented, has yet to build a resume that would justify a fight with someone of Canelo's stature. A mismatch of this nature wouldn't honor the rich history of competitive close-fought battles that define the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. Change my mind, guys. Who thinks this is really Puerto Rico versus Mexico? I mean, if you're a fanatic, Mexican fighter, you're gonna say, yeah, it's Mexico versus Puerto Rico, or we're gonna beat them again. No. Hold your horses. That's like saying, okay, we got Tito Trinidad fighting, a taxi driver from Mexico. That's Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Come on, guys. Come on. And I'm not comparing Berlanga to a taxi driver, but very close. Berlanga has not fought any top-level opponents ever in his life. He's gotten dropped by mediocre fighters. He doesn't deserve to fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is a cherry picker. He loves to fight smaller opponents. In this case, Berlanga is bigger, but he likes to fight opponents that that are less skilled than himself. That's the reason why he's not fighting David Benavidez. He's cowardly avoiding Benavidez for a long time. So when you tell me that Berlanga represents Puerto Rico and Canelo is representing Mexico versus Puerto Rico, iconic rivalry. No, it is not, guys. It is a cherry picker versus a mediocre fighter in Berlanga. Berlanga is going to get stopped inside of 8 rounds. I'm telling you, there's no way Berlanga is going to make it. And I think Canelo is going to just, destroy this guy. He's going to punish him throughout all those rounds because Berlanga has talked a lot of crap, a lot of crap when he clearly doesn't deserve to be in the same stage as someone as talented as Canelo Alvarez. He knows. I don't think he knows that. I think he's a little delusional, thinking he's such a great fighter and he represents Puerto Rico and the whole nation is behind him. No, it is not. And I have to agree with Oscar de la Hoya on this one. Puerto Rico is not behind Edgar Berlanga, believe me. All right? Okay, let's continue. Conclusion. The Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry is one of the most captivating in sports. It's a clash of cultures, styles, and national pride. While Mexico might have the edge in sheer numbers, Puerto Rico's per capita dominance and the high caliber of its champions makes this rivalry incredibly special. As for Berlanga and Canelo, until Berlanga proves he's ready, that fight will not be a worthy addition to the legendary Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. Again, thanks for tuning in to Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of boxing. So let me know what you guys think. Please make your comments, share with your friends. Always remember to be respectful. This is a controversial topic. Who do you have? Who do you root for? Mexico or Puerto Rico? And I can tell you this, I'm not Puerto Rican, as all of you know. I was born in Cuba, raised in Puerto Rico. My father was Mexican and my mother was Cuban. So I have that mix, and I can fairly say that the reason why I love Puerto Rican fighters so much is because I was raised in the island. I trained with Puerto Rican fighters. I trained with Puerto Rican coaches. I love the Puerto Rican style, which is of not only aggressiveness, power, but technical and fundamental complete abilities of these boxers that are taught the right way, all right? And that's what I like about Puerto Rican style boxing. When you see a Puerto Rican fighter, it's a complete package, my friends. Mexico is super aggressive. They come to fight. They're hardcore warriors. You got to take them out on their shield. I love the style of Mexican style fighting. If you're fighting a Mexican, you better get ready for a battle, all right? That's my opinion. Puerto Rico is a little more technical, in my opinion. Some people might disagree. Mexico is a more aggressive. I take one shot and I give one shot. Let's see who's the last man standing. And I like that too. Right, well, anyway, guys, again, this is Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy in Miami, saying hasta la vista. God bless you all. Have an excellent Labor Day and peace.